I know you've been a great mom to Archie, and we're still going to start at square one with Nigel and go over all the basics of preventive care and overall wellness. We just want to make sure that there's no underlying illnesses or congenital issues that may cause problems in the future. Now, by the way, did you remember to bring in a stool sample?
Yes, I gave that to Jenna when she checked us in.
Excellent. We'll want to evaluate that for intestinal parasites as well.
Oh, I forgot to give Jenna the paperwork that the breeder gave us when we got Nigel. I had a question about something on there. The breeder pointed out that both of Nigel's parents had an AIS PennHIP procedure, and they both had a good distraction index. I'm not really sure what that means. The breeder was really proud that they had been part of a big database, an important database for hip health. And I really just didn't know what she was talking about. I was just so excited to get Nigel. Can you explain to me what it means? And the fact that both of his parents had the procedure, does that mean that Nigel doesn't need it?
Let's talk about this further. As I'm sure you are aware, there's a lot to consider when breeding a dog. Choosing a mate, researching the genealogy of the dam and sire, and making sure that there aren't any traits that shouldn't be passed down to future generations. There are many common genetic diseases that his parents were tested for, and one of those tests was the AIS PennHIP procedure to evaluate their hips for hip dysplasia. Now, once their hips were evaluated and their distraction index, DI for short, or hip laxity, was determined, they become part of a national database to help evaluate and reduce osteoarthritis in future generations. Now, even though Nigel's parents were tested, it's still something that I would recommend for Nigel too.
His hips? He's walking just fine. He's running and playing with Archie every day.
Which is fantastic, but some dogs have hip dysplasia and do not show any obvious signs at this point in life. Hip dysplasia can be debilitating as the pet ages and is also heritable. Scientific studies have shown that hip laxity, or one's distraction index, is directly related to the risk that Nigel will develop osteoarthritis, which is associated with hip dysplasia. Hip osteoarthritis is progressive with age and is also the culprit responsible for the pain and disability of the disease. In other words, with an understanding of Nigel's hip laxity, we can estimate the chance of him developing osteoarthritis or hip dysplasia. The AIS procedure provides us with predictive information to help us do that. And with that knowledge, we will be able to see what kind of intervention that we need to do now, either surgical or non-surgical, before he starts to feel any pain.
Wow, that's a lot to take in.
I understand. Well, here is a video to show you exactly what the procedure does in more detail.
Okay, that makes sense. But anesthesia, that sounds scary. What kind of recovery will he have?
Anesthesia is actually important. We will anesthetize or sedate him so that his muscles are relaxed, which will make taking the radiographs much easier and less stressful for him. It looks like it may be painful, but studies have shown that it is not, and it does no damage to the hips. It is the only truly and reliable way to test non-weight-bearing laxity in the hips.
I'm so glad to hear that. I don't want him to be stressed out. So once his x-rays have been evaluated, will he be in the same database with his parents?
Yes, he will, and we will review the results of his report and discuss exactly what all the information means in detail. Now, he has to be at least 16 weeks of age for us to get the images, so we can schedule it at the time of his neuter, since he'll already be under anesthesia for that procedure.
That makes sense. I would like to have it done at the same time if that's possible. Now, is this a procedure that can be done for a dog Archie's age? Because if we could help him before he gets arthritis, then I would want to do this for him too.
Absolutely. We've found that we can perform the AIS PennHIP procedure on any dog, and it's a great preventive measure for both Archie and Nigel. For Archie, we can do the same thing, and we can schedule his procedure at the time of a professional dental cleaning or any other procedure that requires anesthesia. It's a great time to think about hip health. Once we have the true predictive index on the possibility of Nigel or Archie having osteoarthritis, we'll be able to start now with specific recommendations on nutrition, medication, or supplements, appropriate exercises, or any other treatment that may help delay any negative impacts on them as they age.
Okay, I'm convinced. So what do we need to do next?
Let me perform my physical exam on Nigel, and then we can talk about next steps. Wellness, blood work, and vaccinations, and when the best time to schedule them both for their AIS PennHIP procedure.
Okay. Oh, you know what? You're gonna get taken care of. You do well, you do well, you do well.